Grew up in a struggling farm in northeastern Bradford County that is no longer struggling, that farm. Now she's an older person, she's a widow. Now is living in the southern part of New York State where there is a statewide moratorium with no end in sight, it seems like. And there's a vast difference. She's very involved in the cause up there and has spoken in the state capitol and everything. But there's some huge differences taking place right now between the southern tier of New York and the northern tier of Pennsylvania as far as overall prosperity, where there otherwise would not be that much difference. The other thing that I do want to say is it seems that this all, and this gentleman I think is starting to get into that a little bit, it all seems to get back to the politics of things, and I believe that really the reasons there's this moratorium in the Delaware River Basin right now, and also the southern tier of New York, pretty much all boils down to politics. And I'm not quite sure. I think, I like what you folks are doing, but I'm not quite sure how you really make a lot of headway in this, because you obviously have the majority of the Hollywood types that are not supportive of this, in spite of the fact that it seems to be natural gas, no matter how you look at it, seems to be the bridge. If it is not the solution, it is at least the bridge between what we have had and whatever we're going to in the future. It's a necessary bridge that I personally don't see how you can get to anywhere else without going through natural gas.
Yeah, if I may say shortly about the fact that the Hollywood is against natural gas, it's very unfortunate because there's no doubt that the creative people in Hollywood have a lot of power in terms of creating the public opinion. And they are against it, and they do create those very scary stories that then travel and are taken without questioning as truth. And what happens next is that the public opinion is being formed, through those cultural influences, and the policies that are being created are kind of downstream from there. And it is unfortunate because one would think that someone so powerful like some of the actors and filmmakers in Hollywood would also feel certain responsibility, to actually use their power carefully when influencing public opinion, but they have their minds made up. And Gasland is a documentary, it's one movie, but there is another movie that was made, Promised Land, which was ironically it was actually co-funded by a company called Image Nation that gets that is funded by state funded by United Arab Emirates. So it's kind of ironic that a country that makes a lot of money from exporting oil to United States funds a movie that is, kind of trying to stop or trying to protest against the domestic extraction of natural gas here in the U.S.
One other point I'd make when you discuss what may be against us in the political realm, there's not much talk given to big environmentalism. There's big business, there's scary oil and gas, it's all industry. Environmentalism is as well. It's big industry. It's just in a different form. But certainly that doesn't stop us in what we're trying to do on behalf of ourselves. I'm a landowner, I'm a mineral owner. I've leased my ground for oil and gas. There's no secret there. But when we were approached by people that were looking to lease our land, the NWPOA and many landowner groups like it across the state did the same thing. They said, we have protections we want for our land, we want better leases, we want better terms, we want better protections for our land and our water. And when they were told they couldn't get it, we banded together and we collectively bargained to get those terms. And that's what, that's why the NPOA is here in the movie. And that's what's happened around the state with a lot of other landowner groups. When we couldn't get what we wanted, we leveraged it because you didn't just say, you just didn't accept the answer that says, no, you can't do that. So, we push on, and that's what we will do as well moving forward. I'm not intimidated by what may be against us. We, like I said, we have a story to tell, a part of it to share, and a part of it, public opinion. We need to bend back, and that's the purpose of tonight. Like I said, we had a lot of questions. Why did you do them on the same night? Because we had to force the media's hand to cover us, to tell it. It would be ignored if we just showed it next week, and that's just a fact. So, I know that for the people in the community that say, come on, if there was truth and openness and everything else, you would pick a different night. I understand that, and we will. We'll do it. Narrow is part of this community, membership is part of this community, and I'm sure we will bring it back. But in this case, we need to also show that. Show the media, show the greater state, because when I go down the state, it's a whole different tale versus what the people of Lycoming County, people of Bradford and Tioga and Sullivan and Susquehanna have to say. So it's important that we go down state and tell that as well. Some more questions?